Whitman the strong man, all the way from Belgium. He can lift 100 pounds as if it was only 5 pounds. Test your strength with the hammer.
Who will take the test? And we have a winner! Here you go, Sonny. Nice try, Sonny. Here you go, Billy.
cents for Miss Mullin's Carousel.
That's right. Don't you pay her no mind. Look, she's coming at you again. Let's run. I ain't scared of her.
I got one more thing to tell you, young woman. If you so much as poke your nose in my carousel again, you'll be thrown out. Right on your little pink behind.
You got no call to talk to her like that. She ain't doing you no harm.
Oh, ain't she? Think I want to get in trouble with the police and lose my license?
What is the woman talking about?
Letting my barker fool with you. Ain't you ashamed?
I don't let no man.
He leaned against her all through the ride.
He leaned against the horse, but he didn't lay a hand on me.
Oh, no, Miss Innocence? He didn't put his arm around your waist, neither.
And suppose he did. Is that reason to have a capiloptic fit?
You keep out of this, you rip. You've had my warning. If you come back, you'll be thrown out.
Who'll throw me out?
Billy Bigelow, the barker. Same fellow you let get so free with you.
I bet he wouldn't. He wouldn't throw me out. I bet the same thing.
Oh, you mind your business, hussy.
Go back to your carousel and leave us alone. Yes, leave us alone, you old...
I don't run my business for a lot of chippies.
Chippy yourself. Yes, chippy yourself.
Shut up. Jappa, 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 jappa. What's going on anyway? Spitting and sputtering like 3 lumps of corn popping out a shovel.
Mr. Bigelow, please.
Don't yell.
I didn't yell.
Yeah, well, don't. What's going on?
Take a look at that girl, Billy. She ain't never to be allowed in my carousel again. Next time she tries to get in, if she ever dares, I want you to throw her out. Understand? Throw her out.
Well, all right. You heard what the lady said? Run home now.
Come on, Julie.
Like a drink.
No, I won't. Mr. Bigelow, tell me, please, honest and truly, if I came to the carousel, would you throw me out?
Well, what'd she do anyway?
She says you put your arm around my waist.
So that's it. Here's something new. I can't put my arm around a girl without I ask her permission first. That's how it
I
is?
just don't want that one around no more.
You come around all you want, see? And if you ain't got the price, Billy Bigelow will treat you to a ride.
Big talker, ain't you, Mr. Bigelow? Suppose you think I can't throw you out too if I wanna. You're such a good barker, I can't get along without you. That it? Well, just for that you're discharged. Your services are no longer required. You're bounced, see?
Very well, Mrs. Mullin.
You know I could bounce you if I felt like it.
And you felt like it just now, so I'm bounced.
You have to pick up on every word I say. I only said
That my
this.
services were no longer required. We'll let it go at that, Mrs. Mullins.
All right, devil, we'll let it go with that.
Mr. Bigelow, if she's willing to say she'll change her
Keep
mind.
out of this.
I don't want this to happen on account of me.
Apologize to her.
Me? Apologize to her? For what? For spoiling the good name of my carousel? The business left to you and my dear saintly departed husband, Mr. Mullin. I only wish my poor husband were alive this minute.
Yeah, I bet he don't.
To give you such a smack on the jaw!
That's what I'm like to give you if you don't dry up.
You upstart? After all I've done for you, I'm through with you for good, you hear?
Get.
Through for good. I won't take you back like before.
Mr. Bigelow,
You don't feel sorry for me, I'll give you a slap on the jaw. You don't feel sorry for me either.
I don't feel sorry for you, Mr. Bigelow.
Yes, you do. I can see it in your face. You think that now she's fired me, I won't be able to get another job.
What will you do now, Mr. Bigelow?
Well, the first thing is I'll go get a beer. Whenever anything bothers me, I always drink a glass of beer.
So then you're bothered about losing your job.
No, only about how I'm going to pay for the beer. Will you pay for it? Will you? How much money have you got?
43 cents.
And you? Now, I asked you how much you got. All right, I understand. There's no reason to get upset about it. Look, I'm going back to the carousel to get my things. You wait here till I come back, then we'll go have that drink. It's all right, keep your money. I'll pay.
Julie, do you like him? I don't know. Did you like it when he talked to you today? When he put you on the carousel that way? Did you like that? Would you rather not say? You're a queer one, Julie Jordan. You are quieter and deeper than a well. And you never tell me nothing. There's nothing that I care to choose to tell. You've been acting most peculiar. Every morning you're awake ahead of me. Always sitting by the window. I like to watch the river meet the sea. When we work in the mill, waving at the loom, you gaze absent-minded at the roof. And half the time your shadow gets twisted with the threads till you can't tell the walk from the woof. Tain't so. You're a queer one, Julie Jordan. You won't ever tell nobody what you think. You're as tight-lipped as a oyster, and as silent as an old Sahara spink. Sphinx? Huh? Sphinx. You spell with an X. No, that's only when there's more than one of them. Oh. Julie, I've been busted to tell you something lately. You have? The reason I didn't care to tell you before was because you didn't have a fella of your own. Now that you've got one, I can tell you all about mine. I'm glad you got a fella, Carrie. What's his name? His name is Mr. Snow, and an upstanding man is he. He comes home every night in his round-bottom boat with a net full of herring from the sea. An almost perfect bow, as refined as a girl could wish. be wed with a wife. And indeed, Miss Pibberich, if you'll be mine, I'll be yours for the rest of my life. Next moment we were promised, and now my mind's in a maze. For all I can do is look forward to that wonderful day of days. When I marry Mr. Snow, the flowers will be buzzing with a hum of bees. The birds will make a racket in the churchyard trees. When I marry Mr. Snow, then it's off to home we'll go. And both of us look a little dreamy-eyed, a drive into a cottage by the ocean side, where the salty breezes blow. He'll carry me across the threshold, and I'll be as meek as a lamb. Then he'll set me on my feet, and I'll say kind of sweet, "Well, Mr. Snow, here I am." Then I'll kiss him so he'll know that everything will be as right can be, a living in a cottage by the sea with me. For I love that Mr. Snow, that Elsie fair and bold and daring, big be-whiskered, overbearing, darling Mr. Snow. See, I understand how you feel about Billy Bigelow.
You're still here.
You told us to wait for you.
Yeah, what do you think I want with two of you? I meant one of you has to stay. The other can go home.
All right. All right.
Well, one of you stays. Where do you work?
Bascom's cotton mill, a little ways up the river.
And you?
I work there too.
Well, which of you wants to stay? Come on, speak up, which of you stays?
Whoever stays loses a job.
How do you mean?
All Bascom's girls have to be respectable. We all have to live in the mill boarding house, and if we're late, they lock us out. We can't work there anymore.
Is that right? You won't be able to go home if you stay?
That's right. Julie, should I go? I can't tell you what to do, Carrie. All right. You stay if you like.
Is that right? You'll be discharged if you stay here.
Julie, should I go?
Why do you keep on asking me that?
Because you know what's best to do.
All right, Carrie. You can go home.
Well, good night.
So now we're both out of a job. Have you had your supper?
No.
You want to go and eat out on the pier?
No.
Anywhere else?
No.
I haven't seen you around the carousel much. Only 3 times before today.
I've been there much more than that.
Is that right? Did you see me?
Yes.
Did you know I was Billy Bigelow?
They told me.
Have you got a sweetheart?
No.
Now don't lie to me.
I haven't to anybody.
You stayed with me here the first time I asked you. You know your way around all right, all right.
No, I don't, Mr. Bigelow.
And I suppose you don't know why you're sitting here like this, alone with me. You wouldn't have stayed so quick if you hadn't done it before. What'd you stay for anyway?
So you wouldn't be left alone.
Alone? God, you're dumb. I don't have to be alone. I can have any girl I want, don't you know that?
I know, Mr. Bigelow,
Yeah, what do you know?
that all the girls are crazy for you. But that's not why I stayed. I stayed because you've been so good to me.
Well, then you can go home.
I don't want to go home now.
You know what you remind me of? A girl I met back in Coney Island. I'll tell you how I met her. We had just put the lights on in the carousel, and along came this girl, and just as she was,
Evening, Mr. Bascom.
Good evening, Timothy. Nice night.
Indeed it is. Mr. Bascom, that is one of your girls.
One of my girls. Is that you, Miss Jordan?
Yes, Mr. Bascom.
Whatever are you doing out at this hour?
I,
You know what time to close the doors of the mill boarding house. You couldn't be home on time if you ran all the way.
No, sir.
whose old sideburns?
Hey now, don't you go to calling Mr. Bascom names. Unless you're fixing to get yourself into trouble. Got a report on this one from the police chief at Bangor. Pretty sly gazebo. Come up from Coney Island.
New York, eh?
Works on carousels. Makes a specialty of young things like this and gets them all moony-eyed. Promises to marry them, then takes their money.
I haven't got any money.
Speaking, you're spoken to, miss.
Julie, you've heard what kind of a blackguard this man is. You're an inexperienced girl, and he's imposed on you and deluded you. Now, I'm inclined to give you one more chance. I'm meeting Mrs. Bascom of the church. We'll drive you home and explain everything to the house matron. Come, my child.
Well, don't go to standing there like you don't have good sense.
Do I have to go with you?
No, you don't have to.
Then I'll stay.
After I warned you.
You see, Timony, there are some of them you just can't help. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Bascom. And you low-down scallywag, I ought to throw you in jail.
Yeah, what for?
I don't know. Wish I did.
What happened then?
Huh?
You're starting to tell me a story.
Me?
About that girl in Coney Island? You said you just put the lights out in the carousel.
Right. We had just put the lights out on the carousel. And along came this girl in a shawl, and just... Well, she was, Say, tell me something. Ain't you scared of me? I mean, after what that cop just said about me taking money from girls.
I ain't scared.
That your name? Julie? Julie something?
Julie Jordan.
You're a queer one, Julie Jordan. Ain't you sorry that you didn't run away? You can still go if you wanna.
I reckon that I care to choose to stay. You couldn't take my money if I didn't have any, and I don't have a penny, that's true. And if I did have money, you couldn't take any, 'cause you'd ask and I'd give it to you.
You're a queer one, Julie Jordan. Ain't you ever had a fella you give money to?
No.
Ain't you ever had a fella at all?
No.
Ain't you ever had a fella you went walking with?
Yes.
Where'd you walk?
Nowhere special I recall.
In the woods?
No.
On the beach?
No.
Did you love him?
No. I never loved no one. I told you that.
Say, you're a funny kid. You want to go into town and dance, maybe?
No, I have to be careful.
What?
My character. You see, I'm never gonna marry. I'm never gonna marry. If I was gonna marry, I wouldn't have to be such a stickler. But I'm never gonna marry, and a girl who don't marry has got to be much more particular.
Well, suppose I was to say that I'd marry you.
You?
Now that scares you, don't it? You're thinking about what the cop just said.
No, I ain't. I don't pay no mind to what he said.
But you wouldn't marry anyone like me, would you?
Yes, I would. If I loved you. It wouldn't make no difference what you did, even if I died for it.
Yeah, how would you know what you'd do if you loved me? Or how you'd feel or anything?
I don't know how I'd know. Just the same, I know how it'd be if I loved you. When I worked at the mill, weaving at the loom, I'd gaze absent-minded at the roof, and half the time the shuttle tangled in the threads, and the warp get mixed with the woof. If I loved you.
But you don't.
No, I don't. But somehow I can see just exactly how I'd be. If I loved you, time and again I would try to say all I'd want you to know. If I loved you, words wouldn't come in an easy way, round in circles I go, longing to tell you, but afraid and shy. I let my golden chances pass me by. Soon you'd leave me. Off you would go in the mist of day. Never, never to know.
You don't love me. That's what you said, isn't it?
Yes. I can smell them, can you? The blossoms? The wind brings them down.
Yeah, there ain't much wind tonight. Hardly any. You can't hear a sound, not the turn of a leaf, nor the fall of a wave hitting the sand. The tide creeping up on the beach like a thief, afraid to be caught stealing the land. On a night like this I start to wonder what life is all about.
And I always say two heads are better than one to figure it out.
I don't need you or anybody to help me. I gotta figure it out for myself. What are we? A couple of specks and nothing.
Look up there. There's a hell of a lot of stars in the sky, and the sky so big the sea looks small, and two little people, you and I, we don't count at all. You're a funny kid. I don't ever remember meeting a girl like you. You! You trying to get me to marry you?
No.
Then what's putting it in my head? You're different, all right.